Alex, I don't know if you can hear me. Alex Marquardt is there in Lafayette Park. And if you could tell us why the police are now getting closer and closer to the protesters.
Yeah, Wolf, can you hear me?
Yes, I hear you now.
All right. Well, there's been a significant ramping up of the police presence, of the law enforcement presence right there in Lafayette Park. And what we've seen the last few moments is really the D.C. National Guard moving in. They have in the past few days been supporting the park police in this park, which, as you know, Wolf, is federal land. So these are federal authorities that have taken over this park to secure it right in front of the White House. So what we have right here is United States Secret Service in blue, the D.C. National Guard in camouflage, and they have been, you've got that in the front row, and then more D.C. National Guard behind them. Now, I do not know why they have felt the need to bring more forces in. It is not as if the protesters here have gotten any more violent. There hasn't been anything thrown in the hours that I've been here. It has been an entirely peaceful protest. The only thing that I can think of, Wolf, is that in under an hour's time, there will be a curfew. The mayor of D.C. announced today that there will be 2 days of a 7 p.m. curfew. That is in just 55 minutes. And that is in stark contrast to the curfew there was last night at 11 p.m. And so what we saw last night was a real uptick in violence in the later hours. So even if protests like this can be peaceful, they have in the last few days given way to much more violent protests. There is a huge amount of law enforcement presence in this city. I have counted at least 10 different agencies or bodies that have now come together to work with the city and the federal government to keep the peace here. So again, there is a curfew going into effect in under an hour's time. When you look at this crowd, you hear this crowd, there's little indication that they plan to leave by 7 o'clock. So that remains very much to be seen, whether they will disperse and what kind of evening we have here in the nation's capital, Wolf.
And I just want to remind our viewers where you are, Alex. You're at Lafayette Park, right across Pennsylvania Avenue from the White House. But on the other side is a truly historic church, historic Hay Adams Hotel, 16th Street for our viewers who have been to Washington, D.C. And there was a lot of violence, and there were some fires that erupted there last night. And you were there on the scene. What happened?
Yeah, it's going to be a little bit difficult to show you from here, but I can definitely explain how it went down. You're absolutely right, Wolf. I'm going to ask Peter Morris to, again, pan over. That lovely church over there on the opposite corner, that is, as you say, St. John's Church. It's famous because it is so close to the White House, because so many presidents have gone to it, including President Obama, President Trump, and presidents before them. And right outside last night, a huge fire was set on H Street, in the direction that the camera is pointing, as well as a fire that was set in a basement room in that church. And then just a block north, in the large building of the AFL-CIO, which of course is the famous Federation of Labor Unions, there was a large fire set by arsonists in the lobby. And as a result, Wolf, a number of these buildings, including the AFL-CIO, including St. John's Church, including the Hay Adams Hotel, which is right behind us, right behind my cameraman, right in front of me, they have been boarded up.
Alex, hold on for a moment.
Violence.
Alex, hold on just for a moment as we see more police and military personnel going into that area. Clearly, there's a serious standoff between the protesters and the police, the military police who are there, as well as the uniformed Secret Service personnel, police as well. We've just been told that the president will make a statement in the Rose Garden at 6:15, scheduled for 5 minutes from now. You're looking at live pictures coming in from the Rose Garden. The president will walk there. You see the teleprompters are already set up, so he will be reading a statement. We'll see if he ad-libs as well, but he'll be reading clearly what's going to be a carefully written statement. Reporters are already there on the scene to hear what the president has to say. The police were ordered in. They're firing tear gas. They're trying to disperse this crowd, and it's turning very nasty right there. Jim Acosta, you're there in the Rose Garden. Can you hear the flashbangs going on?
We sure can, yes, Wolf. We are standing in the Rose Garden right now waiting for the president to come out and address the nation. And as he is about to address the nation, we can hear the explosions from Lafayette Park. They are very clearly audible, and so we are now seeing the potential for the president to be addressing the nation as these explosions are going off at the same time. I mean, that is just an absolutely unbelievable prospect. But that's what we're facing here at this very moment. We can hear those flashbangs coming in, as we've been hearing over the last couple of days, breaking out right now. Now, we do expect the president to deliver a law and order focused address. The teleprompters are set up, and so we'll be seeing, as it's described from time to time, teleprompter Trump. That potentially means he won't be taking any questions, but as you know, expect the unexpected with the president. He may deliver these remarks and then decide to take questions. But my sense of it is, Wolf, is that he's going to be explaining why we saw those military vehicles transporting those troops over to the park.
And you can see the protesters, a lot of them they've now left Lafayette Park. They're in front of St. John's Church on 16th Street, if you know Washington, D.C., and I Street. There's a lot of historic buildings there. The Hay Adams Hotel right across the street, the AFL-CIO right over there, a big building. And you see smoke from the tear gas that police have dispersed right moments before supposedly the president was going to walk into the Rose Garden right across Pennsylvania Avenue from where all of this is unfolding to deliver what the president describes as a brief statement on the national unrest. That the police start moving in to try to disperse the crowd, and it's getting very, very ugly. Once again, for viewers who may just be tuning in, this is happening as we're awaiting the President of the United States. He's supposedly going to be delivering a brief statement in the Rose Garden where you can clearly smell the tear gas that has enveloped not just Lafayette Park, but the north lawn of the White House and heading towards the Rose Garden where the President is going to be speaking momentarily. Don Lemon, I'm anxious to get your thoughts right now. This is not pleasant to even observe this right here in Washington, D.C., the nation's capital, as this is unfolding.
Well, Wolf, I had very quickly, all I have to say, I said earlier, this is a made-for-TV moment. This was a very peaceful protest, and as the president
Hold on, Don. Here's the president. Hold on, Don. Here's the president.
My fellow Americans, my first and highest duty as president is to defend our great country and the American people. I swore an oath to uphold the laws of our nation, and that is exactly what I will do. All Americans were rightly sickened and revolted by the brutal death of George Floyd. My administration is fully committed that for George and his family, justice will be served. He will not have died in vain. But we cannot allow the righteous cries and peaceful protesters to be drowned out by an angry mob. The biggest victims of the rioting are peace-loving citizens in our poorest communities. And as their president, I will fight to keep them safe. I will fight to protect you. I am your president of law and order and an ally of all peaceful protesters. But in recent days, our nation has been gripped by professional anarchists, violent mobs, arsonists, looters, criminals, rioters, Antifa, and others. A number of state and local governments have failed to take necessary action to safeguard their residents. Innocent people have been savagely beaten, like the young man in Dallas, Texas, who was left dying on the street, or the woman in upstate New York viciously attacked by dangerous thugs. Small business owners have seen their dreams utterly destroyed. New York's finest have been hit in the face with bricks. Brave nurses who have battled the virus are afraid to leave their homes. A police precinct has been overrun here in the nation's capital. The Lincoln Memorial and the World War II Memorial have been vandalized. One of our most historic churches was set ablaze. A federal officer in California, an African-American enforcement hero, was shot and killed. These are not acts of peaceful protest. These are acts of domestic terror. The destruction of innocent life and the spilling of innocent blood is an offense to humanity and a crime against God. America needs creation, not destruction. Cooperation, not contempt. Security, not anarchy. Healing, not hatred. Justice, not chaos. This is our mission, and we will succeed. 100%, we will succeed. Our country always wins. That is why I am taking immediate presidential action to stop the violence and restore security and safety in America. I am mobilizing all available federal resources, civilian and military, to stop the rioting and looting, to end the destruction and arson, and to protect the rights of law-abiding Americans, including your Second Amendment rights. Therefore, the following measures are going into effect immediately. First, we are ending the riots and lawlessness that has spread throughout our country. We will end it now. Today, I have strongly recommended to every governor to deploy the National Guard in sufficient numbers that we dominate the streets. Mayors and governors must establish an overwhelming law enforcement presence until the violence has been quelled. If a city or state refuses to take the actions that are necessary to defend the life and property of their residents, then I will deploy the United States military and quickly solve the problem for them. I am also taking swift and decisive action to protect our great capital, Washington, D.C. What happened in this city last night was a total disgrace. As we speak, I am dispatching thousands and thousands of heavily armed soldiers, military personnel, and law enforcement officers to stop the rioting, looting, vandalism, assaults, and the wanton destruction of property. We are putting everybody on warning. Our 7 o'clock curfew will be strictly enforced. Those who threaten innocent life and property will be arrested, detained, and prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law. I want the organizers of this terror to be on notice that you will face severe criminal penalties and lengthy sentences in jail. This includes Antifa and others who are leading instigators of this violence. One law and order, and that is what it is. One law. We have one beautiful law. And once that is restored and fully restored, we will help you, we will help your business, and we will help your family. America is founded upon the rule of law. It is the foundation of our prosperity, our freedom, and our very way of life. But where there is no law, there is no opportunity. Where there is no justice, there is no liberty. Where there is no safety, there is no future. We must never give in to anger or hatred. If malice or violence reigns, then none of us is free. I take these actions today with firm resolve and with a true and passionate love for our country. By far, our greatest days lie ahead. Thank you very much, and now I'm going to pay my respects to a very, very special place. Thank you very much.
The president saying he's going to use an old law to deploy military personnel to deal with all of this. He says these are professional anarchists who are responsible, once again, as he has for the past several days. He blamed a far-left group, Antifa, for this. They will lose. We will win, he said. This is our mission. We will succeed. He said 100%.